I am so happy to have joining me Nicole Braxton. She is going to be the presenter for an upcoming cooking class that we are having on Sunday, February 20th at 1 p.m., a virtual cooking class on Zoom, sponsored by the Health Ministries Department of the Ypsilanti Seventh-day Adventist Church. I thought it would be nice for us to get to know Nicole a little bit better. Nicole, why don't you share a little bit about yourself?
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to meet you at the event. And just a little bit about myself. I'm originally from the Metro Detroit area. I went to school at an all girls Catholic high school, and I went off to school at Bowling Green State University in Ohio. I grew up with all brothers, and I'm the only girl, middle child. In terms of faith, I grew up going to church on during Christmas and holidays. It wasn't necessarily a big thing until right before I went to college, when that was something my family wanted me to learn more about. And when I went off to school, I studied business, and I had the opportunity to study abroad. And when I was in Hong Kong, which was literally a complete godsend, there's this whole story behind that. One of my teachers actually was really involved with getting me there. It was completely a godsend. And one day I'd love to share the story with you. While I was there, I really became convicted, and the Holy Spirit really convicted my heart. And I prayed and I asked God to, I shared with him that I wanted to become closer to him, and I asked for him to give me a support group. And when I was looking and searching, one of my classmates there invited me to one of her churches there, and they actually celebrated and held the Sabbath, which was a really unique thing. They actually were a Pentecostal church, and they had all different events on that day, and it became a real joy to me. And from that moment, I became really excited to share, all the exciting news and love and great things with friends. And so I would go out with friends and just share and connect, and we would always be talking about that. So it became a great way to share God's love, and also just to connect with people. And later on, when I came back to the US, specifically Ohio, I went off to an internship where I did government contracting in the DC area. And when I was there, I was also introduced around that time. I was introduced to my first Adventist friend. When I was in Hong Kong, the friend that I studied with said, "You should meet my friend." So I was introduced to my first Adventist friend, which I didn't even know what the word Adventist meant. So I had to Google it, and I had to understand a little bit more about that. And so I was a little skeptical at first. I wanted to know what is that. But long story short, the friend that she introduced me to, we became great friends. And it was a pivotal moment. While I was away, we would study via different, like, FaceTime and different apps and social things like that to connect. And one day I was at a dealership, and when I was there, I had a Bible with me that my friend gifted me. And they said, "Miss, can you please come here?" So the technician called me up and asked me, why do I go to church why do people go to church on Saturday and not Sunday? And at this point, I had not adopted that. So I was just, that was a really good question. He asked me a lot of good, detailed questions. And I went back, talked to my friend, and that's when God opened my eyes to the truth about a day of restoration. And I prayed and asked God, if it is your will, please show me how I can share this truth with your people. And that kickstarted, other things that we'll discuss. But that's a little bit about me. I'm a foodie, that's for sure. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
So that's quite the tip of the iceberg. So let's dig a little deeper and find out then, give us the segue then to plant-based cooking. How did you become involved with that?
Yes. And so after I prayed and asked God, he literally gave me, it's I could literally see the organization. Like, the building, like the rooms. He took me through all these different things, and I was writing it down and I didn't understand what it was. And apparently Ellen wrote about this, and I, didn't know exactly what that was called. So I was just sharing there's rooms everywhere, and I was describing the dream. And I would, essentially when I came and I moved back to the school in Ohio, I was sharing with my other friends that went to I started building friends at the Adventist church there. And when I shared it with them, they said, you need to go to this event called ASI. And so I went to ASI, and I realized I was so ambitious. I was like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to meet the right people to make this dream come true. But then I was like, I realized there's so many people. So God, please guide me. And I prayed, and I was introduced to a French chef who trained me on how to make plant-based food. And he said the only condition that he would train me is that I have to make plant-based food. And I was not eating plant-based at the time. So that was how I segued into plant-based food. So God gave me a vision. I prayed and asked for help, and he opened the door for me to train with the French chef.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And for individuals who don't know what ASI stands for, it's Adventist Layman's Services and Industries. And you went to a convention there. So it's a lay organization of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So that's wonderful that you were able to meet someone there. I probably know who that French chef is, but we'll get into that later. So you did that, and then your dream started to come true. So just tell us a little bit about the ministry. It's around the world in 7 days, or around the world?
Yes. And so Around the World in 7 Days is how we started. And it essentially the goal, and we also have a nonprofit called Restore Our Community Crew. And the goal for Around the World in 7 Days and Restore is to share a message of restoration and holistic wellness. And we share this through holistic wellness education as well as plant-based food. We started off as pop-up restaurants in Midtown Detroit, and we grew into providing catering and cooking schools as well as wellness talks. With the pandemic, we scaled back to cooking schools, and we also have a cookbook right here that is out. Essentially, our goal is to serve as a wedge to the gospel, a great place for people to meet. We have a common interest, which is food and wellness, and we like to share helpful things to help people to thrive and live life as God intended us to. So we utilize Christ's method. And so some things about that, so far we've served over 2,000 individuals. We've reached over 5,800 individuals. Currently, we host weekly cooking programs on TV networks. We've been on 3ABN and Dare to Dream, and we actively teach the community how to cook plant-based foods and to share different helpful tips.
Wonderful. So tell us, what can participants expect with this upcoming cooking school?
Yes, for this upcoming cooking school, participants can expect an engaging and exciting class. During this class, you don't need to be an expert on how to cook food. This is literally meant for anyone that loves food and likes to cook quickly, meaning it is easy food. It's not just for those who like to spend lots of time in the kitchen. It's to make it very inviting, simple, and delicious. So you'll learn tips on how to cook food effectively, efficiently, and just some nice staples that you can add to your kitchen and for meals. So some of the meals are 30 minutes or less, and some are longer, but it's going to be a very engaging. It won't be long. It'll be short and sweet, and a good way for you to connect and bring friends. This is a cool thing. If you have friends that you think could benefit from this, that are interested in plant-based or something like that, invite them. This is the perfect event for them.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nicole, for sharing a little bit of background about yourself. And we're looking forward to Sunday, February 20th at 1 p.m. for our Zoom virtual cooking class. And we certainly want to encourage everyone to sign up, to register. That information will be given, and we want to make sure that everybody remembers that if you're one of the first 30 to register, we actually have a complimentary copy of Nicole's book, Simple and Sweet, to provide to you. So thank you very much. We look forward to meeting and cooking and eating with you, Nicole.
Yes, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you there. It's your time, guys. Come join us.